Hello, grade 4. This week, our science lesson is about Earth and space. And throughout this lesson, we are going to see how do the Sun, Earth, and Moon interact. We are going to discover together what are moon phases, and we are going to see what are the planets in our solar system. First of all, let's see how do the Sun, Earth, and Moon interact and learn how do night and day look different. How can it be morning where you live and be nighttime in India at the same time? Let's discover how. You cannot feel it, but Earth moves in space. The sun seems to rise, to move across the sky, and to set each day. Earth rotates, it means it turns like a top. Earth rotates around an imaginary line called an axis. Earth's axis runs through it from the North Pole to the South Pole. Once every 24 hours, it means once a day, Earth rotates about its axis. And Earth's rotation causes day and night. How does this happen? So, as it rotates, one side of Earth faces the sun. This part of Earth has daytime. So the other side of Earth faces away from the sun and has nighttime. So as Earth's rotation continues, parts of Earth cycle between day and night. So if we look at the picture, we can see that Earth rotates on its axis from west to east. As a result, the sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west. Now, let us talk about the Sun, Earth, Moon system. We should know that Earth is not alone in space. You can easily spot two other bodies in the sky, the Sun and the Moon, and they all move together. The Sun, Earth, and the Moon form a system in space. This system is held together by gravity. What is gravity? Gravity is a force that pulls objects toward each other. So gravity pulls Earth toward the Sun, holding Earth in orbit around it. An orbit is the path that an object takes around another object in space. So here, in this picture, we can see how the Earth turns or moves around the Sun. So, Earth revolves or travels around the Sun. It takes Earth about 365 days to complete one revolution. While Earth revolves around the Sun, the Moon revolves around Earth. So, like Earth, the Moon also turns on its axis. It takes about a month for the Moon to complete one rotation. So during the same period of time, the Moon makes one complete revolution around the Earth. As a result, the same side of the Moon always faces Earth. Let's look together at this picture. The Sun, the Moon, and Earth all have distinct characteristics. The Sun has the largest diameter of all bodies in the solar system. And I want to remind you that an object's diameter is the distance from one side through its center to the other side. For example, if we look at the Moon, it is made up of a rocky surface, there is no atmosphere or water, and no known life forms. Now, let us move to the seasons. When it's summer in the United States, it's winter in Chile. Earth rotates on its tilted axis. As Earth revolves around the Sun, the direction of its tilted axis doesn't change. The tilt of Earth's axis and its orbit cause the seasons. Let's look together at this picture. Earth is divided into halves called hemispheres. The northern hemisphere extends from the equator to the North Pole. The southern hemisphere extends from the equator to the South Pole. So, in June, the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the Sun and gets more direct rays of sunlight. It has more hours of daylight and warmer weather, so it is summer there. In June, in the southern hemisphere, the opposite season takes place because it is tilted away from the sun and gets less direct sunlight, so it has fewer hours of daylight and cooler weather. It is winter there. In December, the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun. As a result, it is winter there. At the same time, the southern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun and has summer. So, let us look together at this picture that summarizes the seasons in the northern hemisphere. When the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, that part of Earth has winter. So if we look at this part, it is tilted away from the sun and gets less direct sunlight. It has fewer hours of daylight and cooler weather. So it is winter in this part. Now, when the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun, it has summer. So if we look at this part, we can notice that it is tilted toward the sun and gets more direct rays of sunlight. So it has more hours of daylight and warmer weather. So it is summer in this part. Now, let's talk about patterns in the sky. People have looked at the stars for thousands of years. A star pattern or constellation is a group of stars that seems to form a picture in the night sky. As Earth rotates on its axis, constellations seem to move across the night sky. Like the sun, constellations seem to rise in the east and set in the west. The positions of the constellations seem to change with seasons because we see different parts of space as Earth revolves around the sun. So if we look at these pictures, they show stars seen from the same location during summer, the picture on the left, and winter in the picture on the right. The constellations seem to change their places in the sky. Now we are going to talk about our moon. The moon is Earth's satellite. A satellite is an object that moves around another larger object in space. Earth's moon is the largest and brightest object in the night sky. It looks large because it is close to Earth, but the moon is small compared to Earth. We should know that the moon has no air, wind, or liquid water. So, if we look at this picture, we can see the moon at night in the small photo and sometimes during the day. If we look at the second picture, we can see that rocks and chunks of debris from space slammed into the moon and formed its many craters. Craters or pits in the ground cover the moon's rocky surface. And we should know that there are mountains and large flat plains on the moon's surface. Now, let us discover together what are moon phases. The moon's shape does not change. The changes in the appearance of the moon's shape are known as moon phases. So each phase of the moon has a different shape. It takes about 1 month for the moon to complete all of its phases. Then the cycle repeats. Let's see together what are the different phases of the moon. So during the new moon phase, we cannot see the moon at all. That is because the lit part of the moon faces away from Earth. Let's look together at the first picture on the left. During the new moon phase, the moon is between Earth and the sun, and we cannot see the moon at all. So, as the moon moves in its orbit around Earth, we see more of the moon's lit part. So, let's look again at the first picture on the left. During a first quarter moon, we see 1/2 of the moon's lit side. Then, we see a full moon when all of the lit part of the moon faces Earth. If we look at the second picture on the right, the lit portion grows larger until we see a full moon. This happens when Earth is between the moon and the sun. And finally, as the moon continues in its orbit, we see less and less of the lit part again. And when it is half lit again, it is a third quarter moon. Finally, let's see what are the planets in our solar system. Earth and millions of other objects make up our solar system. A solar system, by definition, is made up of a star and the planets and other bodies that revolve around it. The Sun is the star at the center of our solar system. Our solar system has 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. A planet, by definition, is a large round body that revolves around a star in a clear orbit. So if we look at this picture, we can see that the Sun is the star at the center of our solar system, and we have 8 planets that revolve around it. Now we should know that we have 2 types of planets. The inner planets are the smallest and warmest planets in our solar system. They have hard surfaces made of rock. The inner planets revolve around the Sun more quickly than the outer planets. The outer planets are giant balls of gases. These planets are larger and less dense than the inner planets. They rotate quickly, which makes for a short day, but take a long time to revolve once around the Sun. That's it for this week, grade 4. Thank you for watching.